Hello, this is Mr. Turk. I'm just going to walk you through some really basic stuff about your computer and how to organize your files. First things first, when you log into your computer, this is the desktop. So you can leave folders and websites here that you commonly access. At the bottom of your screen, this area right here is called your taskbar. You can pin apps to your taskbar that you use frequently. And then on the left-hand side, we have the Start menu. So if I click on Start, it should open up a list of all my apps. Let's say I wanted to pin an app to the taskbar. That's pretty easy. Just right-click on the app. Go to More, and then Pin to Taskbar. Once it's on the taskbar, you can click and drag it to reorganize it. If a file is open, you're going to see a blue line underneath it. I have some things that are open already. If I click on them, I can see some preview windows of my files, and they'll show me a full window preview. If I click on them, I'll maximize them. And then at the top of your files, again, this will minimize them to the taskbar, this will maximize it to full screen, and this will close the file. Make sure you do that after you've saved it. So, what happens when you open and save files? Well, they're stored on a location in your computer. And to navigate your files and folders, you're going to use File Explorer. File Explorer is the little manila colored envelope icon in your taskbar. It should already be pinned there. If you don't see it, click on Start and go to File Explorer and open it up. You click on it, it should make a File Explorer window. When File Explorer app opens, it goes straight to Quick Access. And then your most commonly used libraries will be here. So my Documents library, if I double click on that, I can go to my Documents. I have lots of folders in here, tons of files. Some of this stuff is really well organized and some of it isn't. Stuff I use every day is really well organized. It's in my OneDrive. You can check out other videos for how to use OneDrive. But basically, this is File Explorer. It's always open to the Home tab. In the File View area, you can change the view of your files. In your navigation pane, you can click on different libraries to access those libraries. So if I wanted to go from Documents to my Google Drive folder, I would click on Google Drive, and then I would be taken to my Google Drive folder. If I wanted to, say, change the view, or maybe, when you click on a library, you notice the icons for your files and folders look different. That's totally fine. To change the view, you're going to go to View. And then in the View tab, you have a ton of options here. You can make it Details View, or you can make it Large Icons. In Details View, this is the most common view. You can click on the column headings to change the order of the columns. Okay. You can click and drag on columns to reorder which column goes when. And then if you right-click on the columns, you can add columns. You can also sort columns using the drop-down menu for each column. So if I only wanted to see items that were edited earlier this year, I could check mark that box, or I could select a date range to only see files from that date range. This is really super handy if you're looking for your files. You also have a search bar in the far right hand corner right here. I can type the name of a file and search for it. And as soon as you click in the search bar, all of these other search options will open up, and these are all Pretty straightforward. You can search by the kind of file it is. You can search by its size, when you think it was modified. It's all pretty straightforward. Make sure when you save files, you organize them. So, I'm going to show you how I organize my files. You don't necessarily have to do it this way, but this is what I think is the best way to do it for each class. Or, these are the things I use every day. So I'm a teacher. I have lots of PowerPoints and Word documents. So I put everything inside of a folder hierarchy. So the very first folder is number 1, and it's my graphic design class. So if I double click on that, you can see some other folders here. And then if I click on these folders, you'll see folders inside of folders inside of folders. And that's just to keep everything organized. So if I double click on my workspace folder, these are all my units. Again, they're in numerical order. This is the order I teach in. If you double click on one of these folders, each unit contains all the projects. Okay? So each project folder has a number as well. And inside of each project folder are more files. So these are the presentations I give, and these are the practice files. When you're working for a client, or let's say you're just trying to organize files for a class, this is what I recommend you do. I recommend you make a main folder and call it, the name of your class, and then inside of that you can make a folder for each project. That way everything stays organized. You don't have to make your folders have a number in front of them to keep them in order. The day you create them can be the order they're in. I just like having the number because sometimes I move things around and use that to indicate what goes next. To make a new folder is really easy. Just click on the New Folder button in the Home tab. You can also click on the New Folder button in the top left-hand corner of File Explorer. There's also a shortcut. If you hit Ctrl-Shift-N, you'll make a new folder. So if I hit Ctrl-Shift-N, should make a new folder in here. There's my new folder. To rename a folder, click on it once, and then click on it again. So click on it once, click on it again on the name, and then you can type the name of it. Class 1, and hit Enter. This column is sorted by name, so that folder just jumped up to the C's. So here's my new folder, and then I can double click on this. And I can start making folders for each project, or I can make them as I go. All right, so I assume you got all your folders set up, but now I'm going to show you how to copy and paste files the quick and easy way. Again, copying and pasting a file is pretty straightforward. Just click on that file. And then in the Home tab, there's a copy button, and then there's a copy shortcut, which you should just remember. On your keyboard, put your pinky finger on Ctrl, which is in the lower left-hand corner, and then with your index finger, tap the C key. And then to paste something after you copy it, so if I hit Ctrl-C here, I'll have copied it. To paste something, you have to click somewhere else, or click in a folder, or a location, right? Let's go to music here. And then I can paste that by hitting Ctrl-V. And that will paste my file into that location. So, again, the fast way to do this is Control and click and drag. So let's say you need to copy a bunch of random files from one folder to another. You're going to do this a lot when you transfer files between your OneDrive and your libraries. I would recommend you use your navigation pane. So if you go over to your navigation pane and just click on one of these drop-down arrows, that's going to expand that library, and you can see all the folders. I could just click and drag one file at a time, but that would move them. And that's not what I want to do. I just want to copy over some files that I want to print later. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to select the files that I want to copy and just copy them over while holding down the Control key. So to select a range of files, click on the first file you want in your range, and then hold down the Shift key on your keyboard, and then click on the last file in your range. And that just selects all the files from here to here. If I don't want all of these files, like let's say this photo isn't my favorite, I can hold down the Control key and click on that file to deselect it. If I click off of these files, that will deselect them. And the same thing is true for the Control key. If I just want to select one file at a time, I'm going to hold the Control key. So if I hold down Control and click on all of my files here, that will add them to my selection. Pretty simple. But again, that took way more clicks. Usually it's easiest if you select a range by clicking on the first file, holding down Shift, click on the last file, and then hold down Control to deselect. So now I've got my files that I want to print. It's pretty easy to copy them. Again, don't click and drag the whole group and let go. What you want to do instead is you want to hold down your Control key and click and drag to copy those files. So if I let go of my mouse first and my Control key second, if I let go of my mouse, that's going to make a copy command to this folder. And again, if I let go and then my Control key, you'll see this folder has all the images I want to print. So this is how I recommend you move files around your computer, is make your folders, make sure everything's backed up in multiple locations, and then copy and paste your files around.